In order for you to go where you've never been, you must become someone you've never been. If that makes sense to you, you have to become somebody completely different than the person you used to be in order to allow that person to take you to places you've never been before. This requires you shedding all the aspects of your former self, your habits, your obsessions, your addictions, all of that has to go. It cannot come with you in the future. It is not meant for you to travel with this baggage and bring it into a spot that's pristine, because what will happen is that negative low vibrational alignment, which is a direct connection to your past, will only serve to contaminate your dreams and your visions and your future. And what will wind up happening is once you get to your desired destination, it will wind up turning it into an exact replica of the past. You have to become somebody different, not just vibrationally speaking, but your character, your personality, anything that you used to do, your habits, they have to be thrown in the garbage. You have to become somebody different to fit that new slot that the universe has, set aside for you. It's like I said before, like putting a gigantic square peg into a microscopic round hole. It won't fit. It will not fit. You have to become acclimated to doing things that you've never done before. And it's the opposite with yourself in the past. You became so acclimated to things being a certain way, and you just follow them. You're a creature of habit. That all has to go. It isn't just manifesting these objects in these places. That's just a portion of it. The big significant portion is you as the catalyst and the life force and as the power supply and the very element that creates this vibrational environment and activates it and initiates the process and everything in between. You are the one that has to change in order to fit that new environment you've just created, or else you're not going to be able to walk in there. And this is something that we're all learning, and myself included. Sometimes you get angry, things don't happen when you want, you get discouraged, you like, forget it, it doesn't work. Granted, sometimes the divine plan does take a long time, but my thing is that I've always said, instead of waiting on the universe or anybody else on earth, just get started with what you have. A cell phone and a laptop, you could change the world, man. That's the straight truth right there. But I'm trying to tell you, hypothetically speaking, you can't be your former self in order to fit into the future that God has designed for you. If that makes any sense, that's basically as easy as I can put it. You know what I mean? It's like somebody who wants to be a counselor for people who are alcoholics, but the person is still an alcoholic themselves. So it won't fly. What kind of motivation are you giving them? What are they aspiring to inspire themselves with? Somebody who's still an addict and an alcoholic. You can't go by that. That's just not going to work. You have to have conquered those demons in order to allow yourself to move forward. So that's it. You place an intention in your sacred space, you become the very embodiment of that intention by becoming a vibrational equivalent to it. That energy channels through the earth's conduit, which is water. It becomes a vibrational physical equivalent, but that's just half of the process. The other half is you becoming somebody totally different. You have to become somebody totally different and allow that person to take you places you've never been before, right? That's basically what it is. So that means you have to shed all of the aspects of your former self to allow that process to happen, or else something is going to go wrong along the way and you're going to be upset because the whole structure of that brand new vibrational environment is going to collapse because you bring old elements into the new and it will contaminate it and infect it, and it will become diseased and sickly and it will die. I remember years ago, I've already said this, a guy that I knew, he was moving from where I live here out to the southwest. And this is years ago, and he just asked me, a couple of things and so on and so forth. So I went over there and I just watched the move and everything. But I was saying to him, I was like, listen, he was big into like Nazi memorabilia and guns and everything. But the thing with this guy is he actually had the real Nazi stuff. This wasn't replicas. This was the real freaking uniforms from these Nazis from World War II. And you can, when he had it in a room and the room was painted like a blood red, and when you walked in there, you just felt death and evil, man. That room had a different energy than the rest of the house. It was just freaking creepy. And he had war books and dioramas and all kinds of Vietnam stuff. And I said to him, yo, man, where you're going is very spiritual. It's not going to work for you. He was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, you can't bring this stuff with you into that spiritual place you intend on moving to. This stuff is going to contaminate and kill everything. He thought I was a nut. When he got there, he was only there for a short amount of time. All these problems started coming up and this and that. And he was out of there in less than a few months. And I said, I knew it. You can't take this evil from your past into the beautiful goodness of your future. It's not going to work. You have to let things heal, and then you have to release them and let them go. You cannot take toxic people with you in your new destination because they are only going to serve to destroy it. And if that toxic person happens to be your former self, so be it. They can't come. You've got to change. If change is what you're looking for, you have to be the change in order for you to see the change, or else change will never arrive. And that change arrives in the form of whatever the universe wants to help you with. And that means a new life. So that's the word, new. And the old can't come into the new. So you must be willing to change. An individual must recognize the necessity within themselves of change, or change will never arrive. Meaning, you have to realize that I've got to change. Because if I don't, everything stays the same. And this is what's making me unhappy. So I have to change me, not as a person only, but as an energy, man. You can't just adopt some phony happiness because that will get filtered out later on. Trust me. It doesn't work. It's like you trying to change just to appease the people around you. That only goes on for a certain amount of time. I've been down that road like many years ago. Didn't work. You just wound up becoming yourself again and just say, F it. I don't care what they think. I'm me. But unfortunately, they're trying to tell you something, that what you're doing is detrimental, not only to yourself, but those around you. Now, that's different than when you enter into a relationship with someone and they're trying to change you in what they want you to be. That's unhealthy. Because if you get into a relationship with somebody, they should accept you at face value, who and what you are. If they can't, then they should get somebody else that fits that bill. If you're in a relationship with somebody, don't try to change your partner into becoming what you want them to be or what you need them to be. Because you're just trying to project your insecurities on that person. Because you're obviously a control freak. And that's not a healthy dynamic. But nonetheless, the old cannot come into the new. That's the bottom line. And you have to figure a way to make that happen. Because if not, it's not going to happen at all.